All right, man. So today we welcome everybody to our all recovery meetings. We are due to the weather, we are all in different locations, but however, we are so dedicated to what we are called to do for you guys that we made a way to be able to do our all recovery meetings from where we are. Again, we're going to go over this particular day. We're going to keep going over the relapse prevention group handouts, which is a HAZELDEN handout. It's a 16-week individualized program, and it's the matrix model. So we want to thank them for providing us with information that we'll be able to share with everyone. And also, as always, if you would like a copy of this particular workbook, which is free, just give us a comment or inbox us or contact us at any different locations or numbers, and we'll be able to give you this particular information. It is very useful to all individuals who are in the recovery process.
Wonderful. Great job, Mike. You always know how to bring a wonderful introduction. Welcome, everybody.
You too, man.
All right, so I'm going to begin with our all recovery meeting guidelines. So I'd like to welcome everyone to this all recovery meeting. An all recovery meeting is not a 12-step meeting and has no affiliation with NA or AA. My name again is Karen. To begin with, I'd like to say that we welcome all who struggle with addiction, are affected by addiction, or support the recovery lifestyle. We would also like to ask that you respect the views and comments of others and that you refrain from the overuse of profanity that may offend others. Let us start from a place of respect and understanding for one another by sharing one at a time. Please turn your cell phones off or put them on vibrate. Can we start this meeting with a moment of silence to remember why we are here? Thank you. Please feel free to share on anything that you feel will enhance your recovery or the recovery of others. Please be mindful of the amount of time you share. And today we are going to be going over defining your spirituality and taking care of business and managing money.
Cool. And be smart, not strong.
Oh, that's right.
That's cool. Go ahead, Mr. Dingle.
All right, so I have the wonderful pleasure of starting off, and let's get started.
Let's go.
And it says, be smart, not strong. Now, it says, I'm gonna read what that means. It says, I can be around drugs and alcohol. I am certain I don't want to use. And once I make up my mind, I'm very strong. Mind over matter sound like to me.
That's exactly what it sounds like.
Yep. And the other book, it says, I have been doing well. I think it's time to test myself and see if I can be around friends who are using. It's just a matter of willpower.
Yeah.
Some people are strong in that area. Me, myself, I'm an recovering addict, and so I don't want to tempt myself or test myself in that aspect. But if I am around someone, I know I have to remove myself as soon as possible.
Soon as possible. So a lot of times when it's saying be smart, not strong, I remember I'm 22 years struggling with drugs and addictions, and 13 years removed from it. However, this topic, be smart, not strong, is very personal to me because multiple times I would try to get clean, or I would get my clean time, and I would get about a year clean. And I will always, I'm born and raised in Atlantic City, and I will always want to go back to Atlantic City. And I just wanted to show the people in the neighborhood where I came from that I was clean. I was trying to show them, look at me now. Look how good I'm doing and everything. But sooner or later, they will basically have me using drugs, or they wouldn't make me use drugs. I will eventually start using drugs again. So back then, I wasn't being smart. I was trying to be strong, showing how strong I was to be clean and be around you, even though you are using. So this particular teaching is very important. Don't try to be strong. You need to be smart. If you need to be away from a certain area or a certain situation that's going on, then be smart. Don't try to be strong and prove to the drugs I can beat you. Oh, you prove to the drugs that you beat them as long as you don't pick it up. You don't have to go back into the same areas and try to prove anything. Remember, be smart. Don't be strong.
All right. And so the next bullet says, I think I can have a drink, not use speed. I never had a problem with alcohol anyway.
Nigga wanted that thing, Craig.
Yeah, one of those things of switching one addiction for another.
Yeah.
Well, I was using cocaine over here, so I didn't really have a problem with alcohol. And so, addiction is addiction. So if anything that you do that becomes uncontrollable cause your behavior to spiral out of control,
Yeah, it's a problem.
that's a problem. Absolutely.
And also, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I was saying, like, when you think I didn't have a problem with this, I can do this. My problem was cocaine. I can do alcohol. There's a thing called a gateway drug. And more than not, most people will fall for the gateway drug in the process of relapse before they actually probably go right back to cocaine. The gateway drug is very important because if alcohol wasn't your problem, that does not mean, oh, I can go drink, or marijuana wasn't my problem, so I'm going to go smoke this marijuana as long as I don't do the heroin or coke. I can testify to that as soon as you think that way, you are in the process of going back to a relapse. You mentally are relapsing already.
So that's a good analogy, Mike. The article also states, staying drug and alcohol free does not depend on strength. People who are able to maintain abstinence do it by being smart. They know that the key to not drinking and not using is to keep far away from relapse situations. The closer you get, more likely a relapse becomes. If drugs or alcohol appear unexpectedly and you are close to them and to friends who are drinking and using, your chances of using are much greater than if you weren't in the situation.
Wow.
Smart people stay sober by avoiding triggers as long as possible.
Wow.
Don't be strong, be
smart. He says smart people stay sober by avoiding triggers for as long as possible. As much as much control as you have in the process of your sobriety or your process of your recovery, if you can avoid your triggers for as long as possible, I suggest that type of route over any other route that you probably has tried. If you can avoid it, I'm talking about that's in your control. Everything in my control, I'll use me. I always can use me. I can control if I put my foot or my body into a place that people are smoking crack cocaine. I can control that. Like nobody can't force me to go into that type of area where it might be where it used to be my trigger. That used to be one of my triggers years ago. If I was around it, I definitely was going to do it. It would trigger me to do it. I'm not there now, thank God. But I'm saying even though I'm not there now and it won't trigger me to want to use any drugs, I still am smart enough to know not to put myself in that type of situation. So a smart person stays sober by avoiding triggers for as long as possible.
One of the things that we learn in treatment and therapeutic community is people, places, and things.
Yeah.
Those things are major factors for staying sober. Knowing that people that you deal with, you surround yourself with, places that you visit, the things that may come into play, they are very crucial to staying sober.
And that's why when you're thinking about being smart and not strong, and you're thinking about triggers, that's why at Capital Recovery Center we spoke about it, I believe Tuesday, where we talked about the recovery management plan. The reason why we have recovery management plan is to locate or try to figure out what your triggers are and help you develop some type of plan to be able to avoid those areas where your triggers are very a high risk situation. So the recovery management plan, if y'all didn't see us do it on Tuesday, you can always go to our YouTube page and watch the video on when we were talking about the the recovery management plan that we have at Capital Recovery Center. And that the purpose of it is to try to pinpoint things or areas that we can better assist you in the process of recovery, especially dealing with your triggers, because the trigger is something that will always get you engaged to going through the process of relapse. Go. Let's do what's that? Don't be smart, be strong. Let's read those numbers. What's it called?
It's a total recovery IQ.
Okay.
Yes.
Let's go ahead. You can read it.
Okay. It says the first one says practicing thought stopping.
That's a good one.
Scheduling. Keeping.
Yes.
Keeping appointments. Avoiding triggers. Not using alcohol. Not using drugs. Avoiding drug and alcohol users. Avoiding drug and alcohol places. Exercising. Being truthful. Going to 12-step or other outside support meetings.
This is a great, all of those things are so vital in the recovery process. Being truthful. Man, I think we talked about something about truthful for like 2 or 3 weeks. We was talking about truthfulness, and the reason why truthfulness is very important, because if you're experiencing some type of desire to go back to what you used to do, then maybe you have to be truthful about that situation, and then we can go forth and try to help you in that type of process. No matter who you are or what you're going through, being truthful will always help the situation, about help in the situation that you're in. Another one that she mentioned on there was keeping your appointments. Keeping your appointments. We at Capital Recovery Center, we make weekly calls to reach out to the recoveries, and we will set up different appointments for them. And not all appointments are kept, but we will follow up and give them another appointment to make. That's very important. Why? Because it's not just always about the substance use, the actual substance use in the process of your recovery. It's about, you keeping your appointments that you made, you being truthful, you avoiding drug and alcohol users. All of this is something that has to take place. So this is all in the pattern, in the process of you being smart, not being strong. Perfect. All right, where we at?
Defining spirituality.
All right, let's do it. Let's go. Define it again. If anybody want to need any help from recovery coaches, y'all can come check us out at our location at 72 North Pearl Street. Being though we're having appointments only, you can call us 856-391-7449 or 1-800-236-2448. And to those who are watching the video live, you can see it at the lower third of the video screen. You can get the number right there. If you need any assistance with yourself or your loved one, please contact us. Our motto is, how can we help you with your recovery? Yeah. That's our motto.
All right. So it says, what does spirituality mean to you? Check those definitions that seem to apply. Spirituality is a person's relationship with God, the deepest level from which a human being operates, the philosophical context of a person's life, the values, the rules, attitudes, and views. Or it can be the same as religion.
That's all great things right there, because a lot of times people run into problems in this particular area. And I always tell people that I mentor, don't get stuck on trying to understand another person's perspective of spirituality. You just develop or learn how to define it to you, because if you can't relate to another person's definition of spirituality, you will feel like you're not worthy enough to have the spirituality that you have. So that's why here, when she just read it, she says spirituality is, and it has a list of different things. Why? Because everybody has a different definition of what spirituality may be. My personal definition of a spirituality is, I would pick, if I had to pick out the four, I would pick the first one: a person's relationship with God. But that's me. That's not saying you have to check that one. So we're talking about defining spirituality, and the only person who can define the spirituality for you is you.
Absolutely. And for me, I would pick number one as well, because that's something that I believe in. And also, you may hear the term or heard the term, a higher power.
Yes.
A power greater than yourself. So a lot of times we try to figure things out on our own. That's why, as they say, most people that's in recovery has relapsed, because a lot of times we try to figure it out or think we can figure it out on our own.
Yeah.
Some people need a higher power or other mechanism that can assist them, whether it be cognitive or whether it be some type of recovery program. So, which one would be for you, Karen?
Well, to be honest, I don't think I ever worked on my spirituality.
Okay.
That's something that I lacked on a lot. But I would like to say that I'm leaning, or I'm identify myself with number one as well.
Yeah, I put you there too.
Because like for a long time I felt I was angry. I was angry at God because of what I was going through. But I started working on my spirituality, and I realized that it's a different type of relationship that I'm trying to build.
That's
So
good.
that's
Yeah, I never knew you had that perspective, because at one time, things didn't go my way, and I was angry as well. And then sometime somehow I just was led back and said, I have to let go and trust God. And you know what? It has been a great ride. I mean, I've been blessed immensely. So,
Yeah.
hey, hang in there.
That's good stuff, because you have a lot of people. Go ahead, Karen.
And I was gonna say, pointing out, because I remember Craig. He was a big influence too. I mean, both of you guys are, because you guys are filled with so much spirit and motivation. Like it's contagious.
Yeah. That's.
So I remember, it's planted in my head. That one time I was telling you about my problems, and you told me, just let God take care of it. And I didn't know what that meant. But I said, okay, I'm gonna literally take the words as they are, and it seriously felt like an emotional relief, like an uplift.
Nice.
So it felt nice.
That's exactly what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, a praise report.
That's what it's supposed to do. But you see how everybody has to define their spirituality. The reason why we are discussing this is because we're not naive to think that everybody's going to have the same perspective as we would in the area of spirituality. That's why most people, not most people, a lot of people don't talk about it, and they sit in the back and just ponder in their head, or they have sidebars and talk about things in the background, which actually hurts your recovery. If you're trying to get to a certain place in your recovery, these are things that you have to discuss. You have the right to feel how you feel about defining your spirituality. I can't force you to believe how I believe. I can discuss to individuals in recovery or whatever, for that matter, about my personal faith and my personal thing, but I would never force it on you. Plus, it's better when you just openly come to the knowledge of the truth of whoever your higher power is anyway, instead of someone forcing you. So defining spirituality will be something that's different to everybody. And here, this worksheet, the Hazelden gave us like 4 different scenarios. So let's finish reading, you guys. This is great stuff.
All right. Who wants? You want me to keep reading?
Okay, go ahead.
The second and third definitions describe spirituality in a broad sense. So that was the deepest level from which a human being operates, and the philosophical context of a person's life.
Nice.
Many people believe that these broad definitions are the most useful way to think of spirituality. The view being spirituality is something that has to do with a person's spirit or soul, as distinguished from the physical nature. Some people believe the level and degree of spirituality in a person's life will dictate the quality of life. In Finding Inner Peace, 1988, Ernie Rawson suggests you can assess the quality of your spirituality by answering the following questions.
Nice. So it says, she read, some people believe the level and degree of spirituality in a person's life will dictate the quality of life. And I believe that to a sense in my own definition or defining how I define spirituality is because how my my wife and I, we always say no matter what we do, no matter what job I do, no matter how many books I write or what I do for my business, my foundation is my spirituality. So anything that's how I define spirituality. And I believe that dictates the quality of life that I experience. And that's my particular understanding of, if my foundation is my spirituality, everything that can stand on top of my foundation, which is my spirituality, and anything that will want me to deviate from my own personal spirituality, I will not be a part of. So it's like, that's my foundation. If they say, well, you got to leave your spirituality out of the equation, then I say, well, I'm out of the equation, because my foundation is my spirituality. You know what I mean? As to my understanding of it. And I'm letting everybody know, never let someone dictate your definition of spirituality. Whatever you define your spirituality to be, you have that right to choose that definition. Every person has their own particular right.
That's so true, Mike, because there is some scripture to back that up.
Yeah.
Is, they seek the kingdom of God first, and everything else should follow.
That's
so
right.
You right on point with that, Mike.
Okay, let's move to you want to read the questions, y'all, or what?
Why not?
Well, let's do it then. We each one take one.
All right.
I'll go
first.
Go, Miss Karen.
All right, so the first one says, how much is enough? What do you want from life, and are you getting it?
Woo, that's a good one. How much is enough? Do you need to further your education? I was sitting there and I was thinking all day today, and I think about I was thinking the words that came to me was available time. And I said, man, what do I want to do with this available time? Now, you can just sit around and do nothing, or you got to think, how much is enough? Can I further my education? Can I move further with this? That's all something that you have to ask yourself. What do you want from life? Are you getting it? If you're not getting it, then go after it. Go after it, because don't wait till, I remember Miss Now said something to me and I never forgot it. She says, you better go after it now, because you don't want to wait 15, 20 years down the road and be saying, I wish I would have went after it. And I said, that makes so much sense. You might as well go for it now instead of waiting till 10 and 15 years down the road and say, I wish I would have did it. So the question said, how much is enough? What do you want from life? And are you getting it? Next one. Go, Craig.
The next one said, upon what is my security base? What would it take to destroy you?
Wow.
What is your security base? We talk about spirituality. We talk about self-assessment, and all that good thing. But when you're faced with a challenge, what would destroy you, and how would you bounce back? One good word I like to always, when I first heard the word resiliency, and that is to be able to bounce back from any hard struggle or task. And so, hey, if you fall up against the wall or anything that's hard, hey, listen, pick yourself back up. If you're having problems, seek one of the recovery coaches here at Capital Recovery Center. We're always there to encourage you and help you along the way.
We always are there. Trust us.
I like that. I like that word resilience. I have it tattooed.
Oh!
Yeah.
I never even knew that.
I go by that word. That's my motto.
Yeah, that's a good one right there. Yeah, that's a good. We got to do something like another live or something on that type of words, or words are factored around that type of word, because that's needed in recovery for real. You need that.
Absolutely.
The next one, who do I have to be before I approve of myself? What qualities are most important to you? Who do I have to be before I approve of myself? And I always say or teach or tell individual, always remember it's you versus you. I never ever look at another man or another woman and say I'm competing against them. I'm not talking about in sports or fighting and all that. I'm talking about in life. It says, who do I have to be before I approve of myself? I always tell you, it's you versus you. Every day I get up, when I go to the gym in the morning, or when I go in the gym in the evening, the person I'm looking at in the mirror is me. I always ask myself, am I the best version of myself? Can I eat better? Can I do more healthier things? I always ask myself, am I the best person that I can be at this point and stage in my life? So who do I have to be before I approve of myself? I always compare myself from one day to the next, and you should do that as well. Try not to compare yourself to other individuals. When you are in the process of recovery and you see individuals probably experiencing 5 and 10 and 15 years, don't be on your first week and be looking at them say, man, they got 15 years. That's okay. They do. But it took them the same time it took you to get to where you want to go. So compare yourself to yourself. Don't compare yourself one to another.
One step at a time.
One step at a time. You can get to a year the same way. That's why I be cracking up at my brothers. We be walking and they see pennies on the floor. And I said, you ain't see them 3 pennies? They said, yeah, they pennies. I said, that's how pennies add up to dollars. So I picked the, because you just skip, you can't skip the process. You pick the pennies, because if you adding up to $1, you got to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So, a lot of times people want to skip the process. If it was $100 bill, he wouldn't have walked over it. Let's move. Who's next?
The other one says, what does success mean to you? What does making it mean?
Wow, that's a good question. What does it mean? You're talking about your recovery. What does success mean? These are so powerful, because I often say, you might have a person who had a substance use disorder or alcohol disorder, but far as being a father, he had no problem with it. He was an excellent father. He just had this substance use or alcohol issue. And then you might have somebody who actually ain't a good father. So you know what I'm saying? You got to understand, what does success mean to you? If it's something that it can't be based on what another person may need. It has to be based on what you need. What does success mean to you? Is it meaning getting your family restored, getting your children back together, getting a job, or what does it mean to you? So these questions are very powerful. These are questions that you have to ask yourself. And when you find out what success means to you, then you know what you have to strive for.
Absolutely. Number 6. What would be the most comfortable and easy way for me to increase the spiritual aspects of my own life? should I choose to do so?
Wow.
That's something, we talk about self-inventory, evaluating yourself. And, when we talk about values and stuff like that, I believe, me, myself, that we have to, concentrate on the principles, the values, the virtues. Those things makes up your characteristics.
Yes, sure.
It's so much important to build good character, so that, when you with people and people see you, they see the best of you.
That's
you
right.
know, not the other side of you. You want people to see the best of you from inside out.
And also when it says what would be the most comfortable and easy way for me to increase the spirituality aspect of my life, excuse me, it depends on what you define spirituality as. If that was me and I define spirituality as my relationship with a God, the God of my understanding, the most comfortable way for me to increase my spirituality will be reading my Bible and studying and praying. So whatever way you define spirituality, the most comfortable way for you to increase it will be based on what you define spirituality to be. Now, that's up to you individually. And at the bottom, it says, in order to have a drug and alcohol-free life for a long period of time, the recovering person has to be comfortable within him or herself. Gaining a sense of spirituality gives many people the inner peace that makes using drugs and alcohol unnecessary. Wow. The 12 steps program provide one way to gain or regain a love of yourself and of life. Wow. It says,
like those,
huh?
Yeah. Go ahead, Mike. Go ahead.
It says, it's a sense of spirituality gives many people the inner peace that makes using drugs and alcohol unnecessary. Wow. Like it would be like unnecessary for me.
Right. It sounds like core belief, man. So when you look at your core belief, things that, they say you learn certain things at home. You teach a child certain things at home. And so when they go out in the streets, if they encounter things that contradict what you learn at home, then you'll know when you think back over your behavior and your lifestyle, you say, hey, what is this I'm doing? This thing is making me uncomfortable. It just makes you dwell within your, I go back again to your values, your morals, and your principles.
Yeah, core belief.
Yeah.
What makes you makes using, it says, I like the term that says make using unnecessary. I always tell people just eliminate the option. And I says, you got to eliminate the option of using it. Take it off the table. It's like you're going to go through things and you're going to have good days, bad days. Sometimes it's going to snow and you can't go to work. Make another way to make what you want to do happen. You can't, you just got to figure it out. You can't just panic and say, oh, what are we going to do? Figure it out. Learn new ways to make things in your recovery work. So where using becomes unnecessary, it says. It's unnecessary for you to be using some type of substance at that particular time in your recovery walk. Where we at? What time we got? 3:35. Y'all want? Huh?
Before another spiritual scripture would be, when I was a child, I used to think as a child.
Come on, man.
I think as a man.
Yeah.
So, when you become a man, you put away childish things, and so that's what we want to do. We're trying to build up men and women to be strong and positive for the community.
That's right. So we got y'all want to go through taking care of business and money or save it? What's up?
Maybe save it because it's kind of long.
Okay, it is 3. It is kind of long. Come on, let's wrap it up here, man, and we can do this next all recovery meeting.
Okay, what we got next week?
What we got coming up? We got coffee and conversation. If you look on the screen, I got it going down in the lower third. Join us for our coffee and conversation every Tuesday at 1 every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Also, every Thursday at 1 p.m. we have all recovery meeting. Please check us out. No matter where you are, you can go to our YouTube page at Cumberland County Human Services, and look at all our previous recorded videos. If you need any assistance with anything dealing with in the recovery field or assisting with housing, 856-391-7449, 1-800-236-2448. You can see that again in the lower third on the screen going across the bottom. If you forget it, you can always see the number there. What else we got, guys?
Rose gonna be out next week on Wednesday, February 17th on 6th and Wood Street in Vineland.
Nice.
From 10 to 2 p.m.
All right, that sounds great. That sounds good. So I won't be doing knock and talk next week. However, but we do have a program that we call Knock and Talk. We go out in the community, assist those who have been McCann, and we assist them with whether it's IOP or some type of services dealing with treatment.
And if you have a loved one and you're not the person that has the substance use disorder, you can also call us and we will talk to you and figure out a way that we can try to engage that individual and try to get him help. Again, our passion is to help individual. Our motto is, how can we help you with your recovery today? So again, just if it's not over for individuals who are struggling with a substance use disorder, they just need recovery coaches. They need some recovery coaches to help coach them and help assist them in their process. Again, my name is Michael Williams. I'm one of the recovery coaches here at Capital Recovery Center.
And I am Craig, also a recovery coach as well.
And I'm Karen, the Capital Recovery Coach.
So with that, we want to say just thank y'all for tuning in, and everybody who always contact us. If you need one of the worksheets, please inbox or contact us, and we'll be able to give you